A couple of months ago, what we did is we pulled some stats based upon our customer usage. So we're making sure we're able to compare kind of apples to apples when we're looking at some of these things. And there are certain things that with our platform you have control over a lot, and you do have to put a little bit into it. We make it very easy to do a lot of those things that I'll be discussing here. To increase those leads that you're getting for your site. So I'm going to be covering some of the data that we found on that. And if you guys have any questions at any time, please feel free to type them in the chat window. Okay, cool. I get that you can see me, but are you able to see the website that I've got up as well, Beverly? And as well as you can hear me. That's the other crucial part, that you can see the screen and hear me as well. Yay! Because that almost didn't happen last time, but okay. All right, so one of the first things that I want to cover is, let's see, I'm going to cover lead capture initially because we do have some that's already built into the platform. And one of the sets that we did, I had to write it down because I wouldn't remember all this off the top of my head, but customers that had one or more custom lead capture forms on their site averaged 45 leads per year. So essentially customers with custom lead capture forms got 9 times more leads than our customers that don't ever go in and do that. So let's show you how to do that one real quick. To get to the back end, we're going to, after our domain name, which is here, we're going to type in inbound marketing. We've got login. Okay. Give it a second to get us in there. Because I'm actually going to bring our site back up so I can show you some of these examples. First of all, what do I mean when I'm talking about lead capture forms? Those are the forms on your site that are going to be, yeah, we'll use this one because I know it's on this page, the example I usually use. This is what we mean by the customized lead capture forms. You can set them up to where they'll pop up periodically on your site, but it's usually best that, because people are coming to your site for the information that you provide, so you want them to be able to see that, and then you want to tie in whatever lead capture form you're putting on the site to reinforcing the information you just gave them, as well as setting the next logical action for, hey, fill this out and I can answer more questions about this subject if I didn't answer them here, type of vibe. It's a way of kind of, you're friendly, kind of hanging out where they can put their information in, but you're not, screaming, hey, I need your information before you can read this, or hey, you just read this, give me your information. It's a lot less obtrusive. It's more customer centric than having the pop-ups all the time. So I'll show you how we created this form, because this is not one of our stocks. If you are new to our system, you do have some lead capture forms that are already built in. Let's see. I'm going to go to one of our other provided pages. You'll see we've got a generic looking to buy, looking to sell, got a question, and there's one other. We'll see it here in a second, but you can kind of see, this is a little long, so people might not want to fill it out. One of the advantages to creating a custom lead capture form is that one, you have full control over the wording and how it does the ask for the information. but you really can get it tied in with the page and control how long the form is. Forms that are very long tend not to get filled out. This one, only 2 of the fields are required, which is name and email are the 2 that are always going to be required no matter what form you're on, just because you want to have enough information that you're going to be able to do an email marketing campaign to them. So that'll be the thing I'll show you here in just a second. Because the first thing is you want to have a way to capture those emails to begin with organically from your site. All right, so this is the form we're making. Back to the dashboard. We're going to go to the Capture tab, and we're going to do Website Lead Form. And it's going to take us to this lead capture area of your site. Now, if you're already in the back end here, you just click Excite and then click lead capture, and it gets you to the same place. This is where you control what forms are on what pages of your site. You can click here to edit them, to change from what forms are available. So 9 steps to owning. I'm going to change that to excited to buy your first home, and it's set to go to a contact group that is for first-time home buyers. By default, if we've set up your site, what we'll do is we'll go through and turn these on for you for some of the pages, but it will only be our generic forms. It's not going to be anything custom, because that's something that we don't want to put words in your mouth, because you know best how to market to the people you're trying to attract. But we'll usually set it to everything going to Excite leads. And we have another video that shows you how you can get a little bit more into the contact groups and things like that. And as always, our support team can assist you with that as well. You can give them a call. The number to reach them if you have any questions about the back end especially are going to be 1-866-300-1550. So I'll type that in the box here in case you guys need that. And then you just choose option 1 to speak with one of our support team. They're always available by phone. So now to actually show you how to create the form. Form Manager is where we're headed. And you can tell what are your custom forms if you may have created one in the past or tried to or anything like that, because you'll be able to edit and delete them. These 4 here are the standard forms. To be honest, a lot of studies have shown the type of form that gets filled out the least is the generic got a question. So any page that you're thinking about putting that on or that it's currently on, you might use that as maybe your first target for creating a more custom form. So you can see how many leads you may have gotten, ever in 30, 60, 90. One of the ways to use this is if you have a form that for whatever reason maybe isn't converting, go in, with the exception of these 4 obviously, but you go in and edit it, because you can always change up your wording a little bit to maybe try to see if something else might appeal. So that's a good way to use this data to better the results from your site. So if you've already got some custom forms set up, maybe come here, look at your stats, figure out some ways to optimize those a little bit better. The one we're doing is the buying your first home. If I was creating a new one from scratch, I would just click here on Create Form, and it would bring this little box up. But there's nothing really interesting here, so I'm going to show you with one that I've already got set up. Click on Edit. This one I'm making specifically because one of the things that this site, we're pretending I'm real estate agent for a second, one of the customers I'm wanting to try to target are the first-time home buyers that are in my market. So I'm playing on, using wording that plays on that emotional a little bit. You're excited to buy your first home, or need help finding your first home. You can, get as creative with it as you want. You don't want to get so creative that the message kind of gets lost in it, but the good best practices for those, action, use verbs, uh, you know, uh, play on emotions a little bit. Just kind of think about what you respond to as well, or more importantly, what your customers tend to respond to in your own experience, and leverage that knowledge to kind of coming up with some of the best wording here. One of the things, here, let me pull this over here real quick, and I'm going to show you side by side so you can see how this is going to play out. Okay, so title is obviously our title here, and then we've got the description, which is this section right here. This is the best place to set the expectation of, they're about to hand over information. What's going to happen with it? Well, it's, you're going to get a no obligation consult about starting the home buying process. So it's not, hey, we're ready to go out, look at houses and, take that plunge deep into it. It's more kind of respecting the fact that they're kind of toying with the idea, but maybe not ready to make that leap yet. So again, getting in the head of your customer is really a good thing to do here. We do have some other videos on our YouTube channel, as well as our help site, and a free ebook about how to create that buyer persona. Having that information and already having that done makes doing this a lot easier, because you're very focused and you're not having, the wide plethora of things to think about or choices to make. You're able to kind of tone it to speaking to that one individual, or victim, whatever. But and I also was using some of my own knowledge here. Is we bought our first house about 4 years ago. Wow, yeah, 4 years ago. Actually started the process about this time. Figured we were kind of stuck with the agent we started with, who didn't really do much. We were the ones that were showing her all the property. She mainly was the one that let us in to be able to even look at the houses. But because, I felt we were obligated to be with her, because she was the one that we, chosen and engaged with, I didn't realize until later through a family connection that I'm like, that totally isn't the case. And we actually ended up losing the time lapse for our pre-qualification had lapsed, so we'd had to have it pulled again, which, yeah, that was not fun. So kind of being very empathetic to some of those first-time rookie mistakes, and using that knowledge when you're thinking about how to speak to your customer and how to kind of, encourage them and build that trust so they're willing to give you, at the very least, their name and email. It's all about providing value. So you've provided value with having really good information here, and you furthered that with, now that I've shown you I have knowledge, I can get more specific to your situation, just fill out this form and we can make it happen. I know this is kind of a little bit more than just walking you through it, but I like to kind of give some of the how and the why we're doing this, not just here's how it works, do it, because then that helps hopefully encourage your own thought processes to figure out how you can make it work for whichever buyer or seller or potential borrower that you're trying to target. This is, and the more you can set the expectation for what's going to happen, the more likely it is somebody's going to actually perform the action that you're asking them to do. Kind of moving down since we've harped on that long enough. You've got this next section, which each of these is a section. For most forms, depending, you may want to just stick with one. You don't have to have multiple ones. I chose to use yes, please contact me because, I mean, it's right there that, they fill this out. They can expect to get contacted about it. So I could even do, maybe a little bit more on it. You can edit. This could say whatever you want it to say. As I mentioned, name and email are always going to be required. But let's say I want to, let's see, am I able to edit this? No, sorry. Name and email, you're also not able to edit the fields directly. You are able, I am able, because it's not required to, or sorry, those are there by default. But I was able to edit the phone because this used to say business phone, which is the default. But, business phone, cell phone, home phone, who has a home phone anymore? Not a lot of people. But, without specifying which phone number they have to leave, plus also adding in the fact that it's optional, instead of relying on them seeing this little asterisk that's right here. That again goes to kind of setting somebody at ease, being transparent, because people are a lot less likely to give you their phone number than they are a name or email. So, I mean, you can add additional fields to this just by choosing from the drop down. So you do city. You do, but that way, other lets you kind of create your own field, and you can name it whatever you want. These are how you can reorder it. See that those two jumped, but then I decided I don't really want those additional fields, and you can see that I can delete the phone field as well. Let's say that this is one that I wanted them to be able to know that they could type more than just a one-line thing. Click on this. It opens it up to be kind of a larger box on this end, and you just click it again to get back to a one-line form. For this, because it, thinking about first-time home buyer, it is helpful to know, okay, well, how big of a house are they looking at? Because that means that you can kind of help direct them, or at least have a little bit of knowledge to tailor how you're going to market to them, or how you're going to offer to help them without asking for their entire life story in a form. So, knowing minimum beds and baths, those are useful things to have, especially when you're helping somebody with their first time home. Once you've got all that done, if you need to add a group, you just click this right here, and it'll add another one of these sections. So once you're done, you just hit save. So now that we've created it, how do we get it on the page? There are two ways to do that. The first was in this Power View, without having to go into the specific page and edit it, like I did with the 9 steps to owning. I just clicked on edit, picked the form, picked the group. It was good. But let's say you are editing a page. So if you're already in the back end, you can go to Excite, Wizard, My Content. If you're in the dashboard, so let's say I'm a big fan of batching things. So if you're going to do this or use this, one thing you could do is look at all the pages of your site and write down 1 or 2 ideas of how you can create a targeted form just for that one page. Now, you notice I was able to use the first-time homebuyers form that I just created on more than one page, which is fine, because people that have gone through the home buying process, they probably know how it works, so they may not necessarily be interested in reading more about the home buying process, which is why that's a good fit for that page, as well as my first-time home buyers page specifically. But kind of write down the pages you've currently got on your site, or maybe even pick your top 3 that you're wanting to focus on. We'll make it even easier. Think about the information that's on that page, and what somebody that's reading that information is hoping to get out of it, and kind of think what the next action would be to create that, and then create a form based on that. So take your pick your 3 pages, write that down. Once you have that list, then go in, create your custom forms, do it all at once, and then now you can kind of go to the steps. So whether you're back here, you just go to Excite My Content, but you guys are busy, so let's say you were able to get all of that done, and then you had to go show a property or something like that. Then you get back, and now you're ready to go add it to all of your pages. So to do that, publish website content page. It's going to drop you in this same area. Either way, we're here. Since this is on, let's see if I've got any custom pages we can add this to. Let's see. Okay, well, yeah, here we go. Is this, nope, that's an ebook page. I'll show you how to do those in a second, because that's another lead capture form idea. But let's see. We'll just do relocating to Oklahoma City. We'll ignore the fact that the content doesn't actually match what we're going for, but that's okay. This section right here is where you can do things on your pages that are enabling those widgets that you see at the bottom, as well as the lead capture form. This is what we're after, is this lead capture element. If it's not on the page, all you have to do is check the box, and then click Customize, and then it's going to pull in all of the forms that you have set up. So that's why it's a good idea to batch those, because then you're not having to create a form, come in, do this, go back, create a form, come in, do this, go back. You just select it. There is an option to do an automatic response. You can click to customize that. Sorry, my windows are sizing really weird. You do not need to put in the salutation, because the system's automatically going to pull in, thank you, Bert, or whatever the name is of the person that fills it out. You're only adding in what happens underneath that. You can also have your signature built dynamically, where it will pull in your name, your company name, the web address, the phone numbers that you've got, and mailing address. Or you can just include it above however you want and just select that option. But either way, you can do that. If you have a specific canned response that you like, you can do save response as a template. And then, so let's see, we've got our first-time home buyer, and you see that way you can just select it. So if there's one that'll work, again, that's another way of batching. Templates save you time, and you can do that. But you'll see that this tailors in, since we're setting it to buying your first home, it makes sense that the automated message that you would want to follow touches on that same point too, so they know that it's a little bit more of a personal touch versus, thanks for contacting us, we'll get back to you. Generic's not the way to go, guys. As much as you can, try to not make it generic, but but you know, don't kind of paint yourself into a corner either. This is good. They don't necessarily need a long message, just letting them know what to expect next. So you save and activate. This is where you can set marketing groups for different things. This one has a lot of them just because it's been a test site and we've had this one. So let's just set it to, nope, or set that one to Excite leads. And then if you have a broker level site, this is where you can set it for different lead routing groups. But that's another class. And as always, our support team can help you with that, especially the lead manager and lead routing things, because that's going to be so individualized. It's really best that you speak with somebody one-on-one about that. Anyways, save your changes, go down here, hit save and close, and you're done. And the form is now going to appear on your page, ready for somebody to fill out. Okay, fine. Just because I know I mentioned we pulled stats, I talked about, you know, once you get the, since we're on the subject of lead capture forms, I'll show you how to set up that ebook page that I had up just a second ago. Mainly because it's another really good way to get leads. Customers with at least one ebook landing page rather, got, it was average 22 leads. And one ebook landing page more than doubled the number of leads our sites generated for that period versus people that didn't have them. For me, the way I prefer to do it, just because it's really easy, is again, go back to this capture, ebook landing page, bam, you're there. Backing up, for those of you that may be going, what does she mean by ebook landing page? Looks like we may have moved some of the ebooks because usually we had a lot more under here, but do 9 steps to owning ebook. So what we've done for you here at Pipeline is we've pre-written several different PDFs across several different subjects pertaining to the home buying process. There's seller books, buyer books, etc. We'll kind of go through those here in just a second. We've had a lot of success generating our own leads with ebook pages. Some of the ones you may have, you guys may have even found us through, where we're offering, the buyer's persona template is one that I mentioned that's a free ebook. Well, you fill out a short form in order to get that resource. This is the same principle, just applied on your site level as opposed to ours. Whenever your customer fills this out, they're automatically going to get an email, so you don't have to do anything to follow up with that other than, nurture that lead once it's in your system. And one of the things about this page is it sets it up so people know kind of what they're going to get within that book. Again, setting the expectation so they're more likely to complete the action. A very short form. And then download. They don't have to confirm their email or anything like that. They just get the book. And this also goes back to the providing something of value in return for information. In this case, you're giving them a valuable ebook. And then you've got a short little bio section that you can put there as well. It'll pull in the headshot that you've got in the site as well. Excuse me. Okay. So to set one of these up, if you're already in this back end, it's going to be custom landing page wizard is what you're looking for. But since we're already here, let's get to my favorite one. 7 reasons your home isn't selling. And this is the title, subtitle, and you can edit those to be different or however you want it. I would probably recommend going in and at least putting your own spin on some of this. For example, the button name is what's going to show up here in the drop down for you to pick something from. I'm not the biggest fan of this marketing mistakes ebook because think about it from your customer's perspective. What does that even mean? But something like house not selling, house not selling, I understand that one. My house has been on the market for, well, it's not really, but that's a pain point for sellers, is their house being on the market too long. So you can kind of play on that by doing something along those lines. There we go. And ideas to help your home sell fast. Again, sellers want their house to sell quickly and they want it to sell for as much money as possible. Those are the two main pain points as I've come to understand them. And again, you set your contact group here for this. I'd probably throw them in sellers. You can edit. These are each of the bullet points that were on this page right here. So you can change those around or reword them as you'd like to. This is where you put in your short bio. The headshot's going to actually pull in from the site itself, so that's not necessarily a problem. If you have any questions or for some reason it's not pulling, again, please give our support team a call at the number in the chat window because they'll be able to help you troubleshoot whatever may be causing that on your individual site. This landing page URL is really just referring to what shows up here. You don't really have to worry about editing it unless you want to. Again, it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. So now all I have to do is hit save and close. Okay. So apparently I've already got this somewhere on my site, which is what that message told me. The house not. Now let's try it. There we go. Okay. So now that I've got it, it's going to be showing up under here. There's my house not selling. I'm going to check the box. So the page gets enabled in my navigation. Hit save. And again, that's just our marketing, our promoter system making itself known. And then I'm going to hit next. We're going to go to organize the content because I want it nested under my ebooks. So I just clicked on it here. I'm dragging it up and dropping it right in this category here. Hitting save. And then we're going to go to house not selling. And there it is. That is how easy it is to create an ebook page. And remember, just even having one on your site can help double the amount of leads that you would get versus not ever setting that up. And it takes less than a minute. Oh, okay, not less than a minute. Less than 5 minutes to do. So that's another great action to kind of take away from today's course. Any questions so far? Just again, feel free to pop it in the chat window, because what I'm about to go down is, now that we've got them in your system, let's talk about the benefits of doing an accelerate campaign, which are a promoter campaign, because we did look at that data as well, and customers who've sent a promoter campaign since these numbers were pulled, I want to say either late April, early May, compared against the this particular set of data was pulled since the 1st of January. So people that use the email promoter averaged about 28 leads, 18 leads if they've sent within the last 12-month period, and less than 1 lead if they've never sent any. Because once you capture the information, you're going to want to keep that contact, because they're going to come to you at any point in the buying process, whether they're ready to jump in and buy and they're already at that stage. Those are going to be fewer and far between. Most of the people that will initially interact with your site, and maybe even interact with you on social media, because a lot of people would prefer that route sometimes than even filling out forms on a site, you have to nurture that relationship, because you guys should know, I mean, you do this day in, day out, especially if you do a lot of business by referrals and things. Building that relationship is key to them remembering your name when the time comes that they're ready to go buy or to do anything. And having a drip campaign is a good way to do that. So let's show you how to do that. Again, going back to the dashboard, just because I want to show you something real quick. With this, you can see how many campaigns you sent in the last 30 days, messages you've sent, how many people are viewing them, how many people are actually, clicking on any links that go through to your site, and how many are opting out. And you can even see a per campaign breakdown of how things are running for you. So again, this is how many were sent, how many were opened, how many were clicked on, and how many unsubscribed. One thing that I do want to say is the open rate, yes, it's displayed, but you're going to be, but there are a lot of email programs out there that will mark things as open if somebody just has it open 10 seconds or 5 seconds or something like that. So you're really going to want to try to see how things are doing, click-wise. Are they actually interacting with it? And the way you get people to interact with your email is making sure that you're sending them relevant messages that are, relevant messages that are also valuable, and depending on where they are, maybe not too often. So under Nurture, you've got Email Campaign Manager. We're going to open that up. It's going to bring you into our Accelerate area. You can also get to it here. Real briefly, I said I wasn't going to go over contact groups, but guess what? I'm going to go over contact groups because I think it is a very crucial step in setting yourself up for success with the email marketing as well as the lead capture forms. So to do that, we're actually going to go to Contacts, and under Tools, you're going to go to Manage Marketing Groups. This is how you can organize the leads that you get to make sure that you're actually sending relevant things. So you're sending buyer information to buyers, seller information to sellers. You could even get more as specific with it as, people doing empty nesting or first-time home buyers. So, especially if you do work with a lot of first-time home buyers and you're on this, it'd be recommended that if you're creating that first-time home buyers form that's similar to what I had up earlier, that you'd also want to create a lead capture group, or excuse me, a marketing group for those same type of customers that you're targeting. And the cool thing with the lead capture that I showed you earlier is I could have that same first-time home buyers form, and if I had it up on different communities pages, I could have it routed to first-time home buyers, Deer Creek, first-time home buyers, Edmond. Sorry, I was trying to think about areas around here, that you could even divide it that way. If you had people working those different areas, then that's another good way you can really kind of focus your marketing, because and Deer Creek and Edmond are kind of too similar, but again, kind of be thinking ways you can move more strategically with how you're using your time and marketing on that. But to add a group, you just type in the group name here. Let's see, we got first-time sellers already. Do you guys have a suggestion for a group we could add to this list? Oh, I just thought of one. You do military. So you do military relocation. That for Oklahoma City, that's kind of a bigger thing because we've got one base in pretty much in the city, and the other one not that far away. So it is a big deal here. So you could do military relocation. So now we've saved that, and you can go in and create forms specifically around that subject that tie into this group, so that way they can get marketed to a certain way. But that's how you set up your marketing groups. Now that we've got that done, let's go back over to Accelerate, and we'll show you how to set up a campaign. You click on Create a New Campaign, and I'm actually going to delete some of these old ones that are, we got a lot of, I'll clean that out later, but we got a lot of test campaigns. I'm looking for one that looks like it was actually sent. Here we go. This is an example I think we did for a customer, because you can activate or inactivate it at any time. If the light bulb's off, of course it's inactivated. If it's on, that means that it's currently running. So you can see this daily rate lock advisory is one that we've got currently running, and it's set to go out to anybody that's part of that list. So let's do create a new campaign. And then we'll give it a name. And then you get to choose which groups are part of it, and you can add individual contacts, groups, or certain types of contacts as well. That was something I didn't get into in the contacts area, but you can tag them as certain types, like a buyer or a seller or a lender, or however you would like to do that. But for this, we're going to do military relocation. Now, here's the cool thing about our system. I don't have a lead capture form right now set up. I don't have anybody in this group. That's okay, because once I get this set up, as soon as I create my form and have it tie back into this marketing group, as soon as somebody fills that out, they're automatically going to be going in whatever campaign I do. They're just going to get added to it, and they're going to start day one and then go through, and I don't have to think about it again. So even if you don't have the people in these categories, don't sweat it. If you do, again, it just works that whatever the total number is will get that initial email, and then however long you set the follow-up emails. And then if somebody gets added to that group like later on, they're going to start at email 1 and kind of keep going down. So it's a way that, again, you don't have to set it and don't have to think about it again. But for now, we'll go ahead and add that. And I'm going to hit next. Now, the exception to what I just said is if you're sending emails that are time sensitive and you actually have it sent or have emails sent by date specifically, because then they're going to come in at whatever the next email that's set to go out on a specific date is. A good example of that would be a holiday campaign. So that's a good chance to follow up with people as well. Just kind of touch base, send an email for the holidays. So that would be an exception to that. Primarily when you set these up, you're going to, wait, I need to add some. So let's do, because we've got a couple of ready-made campaigns here that you can do, the holiday campaign, quarterly newsletter, monthly newsletter. So adding them to that, you just push that over. Let's actually do I'm going to target people that might just be renting, think that they don't need to buy a house or something like that. But you can kind of do whatever you want to do with this. So I'm going to add this to my queue. Just add a couple of them here. All right, so we've got 3. Let's talk about delivery before I get into how to edit these. You've got you can choose or set a specific subject to kind of entice somebody to open the email. Yeah. Oh, it's too long. So they do have to be shorter. And then day 0 is initially when it's going to be sent out. And then let's say I want the next one to maybe follow up with them a week after, and then the next one maybe 10 days after, and then it'll go at whatever day they enter that, and you can enter in the different subjects, or you can set it to do, send it out every 5 days, 3 days, however often you want to do that. So you just hit save, and then you can see how these order themselves, so you can see who's going to get what when. So I am going to click on edit, and for this one we don't have any readily built-in email specifically about military relocation, but I can still take this, did you know, let's replace this image. So I right-clicked on this, and this is how this works across all of our editors. So you can right-click, select properties, I'm going to click here to browse to a new image. If it would, there we go. And then, let's see, do I have a little house? Do not have a little house. I'll throw my picture in there. Just for kicks and giggles. All right. So you can replace the picture that's there with something else. One of the tools that you may see in some of our other videos is called Canva. and you can create really amazing looking email headers very easily using this free tool. And I highly recommend that you do something like that because nobody wants to see my big gigantic picture right there. But I can go in you know, something that again is tying more into the fact that I'm making this more of a military relocation flavored campaign. You can edit the text that's here. These are just a bulleted list that you can use the formatting tools here to do. I would recommend against using these to kind of dictate your sizes. This is what I would use. It'd be normal, you know, if you're doing headings. I would do that because different email browsers handle things differently, and you want it to be as readable as possible. And by only adhering and using these, if certain fonts aren't loaded within the program of the email, they're not going to get a strange looking email. So really just only worry about this because this essentially covers both of those, so you don't have to set each one. These sections here are things that are going to be pulling in automatically, so you don't want to mess with anything that has little curly brackets around it. Let's say that I did want to put in another one here. A good one would be, you're going to use this tool right here, would be the web address. So we're going to be looking at our fields because that's what we're looking for. And then my website. You may have noticed we also had one for Twitter in there, Facebook, so you can add those as well. And it will just pull those in automatically. And then you just hit save. I'll let you know that it's been saved. You can close out once it's saved. Now you'll notice that this picture changed. The reason why is because you've now customized this and can reuse it again in another campaign. So let's say you got a really nice header that you liked, and it's just a matter of changing the wording to fit for your different clients. So the gist of the entire email is still the same, but you might change up. So you know Oklahoma's. Did you know that Oklahoma City is military friendly? And then you could reuse that of great for retirees, or insert the group that you're targeting kind of here, kind of thing. But you don't have to reuse the same thing. Where you'll find those once you get a couple of them created are going to be under My Custom Content, and you'll see that that's where it is, and you can use that in future ones. So that's really cool. The rest of these I'm not going to worry with because it's the same process for each one, and I know we've only got about 5 minutes left. If you do have any questions, please type them in the chat window. I'm going to finish showing this, and then I'll address any questions that we might have. Okay. So now that we've got however many emails we want in our campaign, we're going to hit next. It's going to give us a chance to review them. If you've left blank subjects, it will let you know. Blank subjects are one of the #1 ways things get caught in spam. Oh, that reminds me, all of our stuff is completely compliant with, is it the Spam Act, or, yeah, it's with the Spam Act and all of that, because each email has an unsubscribe link at the bottom. So you don't have to worry about compliance with that. That's something that we've already kind of handled for you with the email and the way we kind of run those. And again, any specific questions, or if you get in and are starting a campaign and you're not quite sure where to go next to complete it out, or you've got a question about how something can be altered, please give our support team a call. That's why they're here. We love to help people. Please, please, please give us a call if you get stuck or need help, because we understand you guys. I mean, we deal with this day in, day out. You guys, you're real estate agents. You'd rather be out selling homes, talking to people, building those relationships. So if it's something that we can help you with, we're more than happy to assist you with that. But if you need to edit a subject, you can just click on the email, click on edit, and then add the subject in there. But then you can click on activate now. So anybody that's in that group, even though I don't have anyone yet, it will show, or it will, as soon as somebody gets added, it will start running. So, let's say we had, and one of the ways I would know it was running is it would suddenly start showing up here if somebody was actively in it. So that's how easy it is to set up an email campaign. All right, well, you guys have been, hopefully have some really good ideas, or at least a couple of ideas of how, at least 3 things that you can do for your site to help encourage more leads. Create a custom lead capture form for some of your pages. Create an ebook landing page if you don't already have one on your site. At least one of them takes less than 5 minutes. You can do it. And then how to set up your marketing groups and get your campaigns going to where you've given the information, but you still get contact from them periodically, or you're still, pardon me, contacting them periodically, so that way your name stays on top of their mind, which is the ultimate goal when it comes to building that relationship and nurturing that lead and getting them to the closing table when they're ready. You guys have a great afternoon, and we'll see you here next Tuesday. We do have a more kind of product-focused class where we talk about things more how-to in the back end, a little bit less of the marketing why over here. And that will be Thursday at 9 a.m. Central Time. And the video, or this, will be up on YouTube here in just a little bit. All right, have a great afternoon, guys. Thanks again for your time.